Hi, welcome back to Snatchoween and welcome back to my channel. Today, for this installment of Snatchoween, I'm going to do Lovecraftian horror, okay? I got really inspired when I went home for my sister's birthday. My sister is a really talented doll designer. She paints dolls and she makes a whole bunch of eyes. So when I saw this big tray of eyes, I knew I had to have it. She let me have it and I'm going to try to incorporate this into my Lovecraftian look today. Alright, so if that's something you want to see, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and ring that bell for post notifications. Okay, let's get all this on my face. Alright, I've got my whole base done now, okay, so I can just go straight into the look. Initially, I was just going to pop all the eyes on my face to give this bug-like look, but that turned out to be a little bit messy, so I was scouring through Instagram to see whether anyone's done something similar so I can get some inspiration. And of course, Pompberry didn't disappoint. She's done this look based on the mask of this Japanese mask maker, Sarokichi, okay, with this multiple eyes and a funny jaw, which is a bit Lovecraftian, okay, and I'm going to try to incorporate that style into my look today. Alright, so I'm just going to trace out the jaws and the eyes, okay? Okay, I'm going to use a lip pencil to do that. I'm going to use my GERARD Cosmetics in Cher. And instead of just going for these red eyes that she's doing, I'm going to try to do rainbow eyes. No need face tapes today, I think. Pink. Okay, let's go in and draw in those eyes. I'm going to use my same GERARD Cosmetics. I'm going to use Bel Air instead for the eyes. Try to make this brow bone work for me. Let's draw one here. A little cluster here. Okay, so this red, this pinkish peachy shade will kind of look a bit like the rim around the eye. So H.P. Lovecraft was a horror writer around the turn of the century, around the 1900s, whose style has been called cosmic horror or celestial horror. Also one of these very existential kind of horrors. Cluster here. And cosmic horror is almost like this kind of horror that you cannot comprehend, okay? So a lot of its themes were like these big godlike, alien-like creatures that appeared out of the deep sea or deep space that will come to terrify you, and our puny human brains just cannot comprehend, so we usually see them as this other dimensional beings, and sometimes they take these forms of huge creatures with tentacles and multiple eyes and stuff like that. And it's supposed to reflect how insignificant we are in the world, in the universe. And at the same time, the themes of futility, you know, there's nothing you can do to stop these monsters and you just have to live with this terror. Okay, that's enough. Initially, I wanted to put all those eyes on my face, but you know, it got really messy. Let's just try to be a bit more controlled. Silver Beauty is going to crack on all this, so I think I'm going to use Clown White. Fill in all those eyes and draw in my little teeth here. So a very famous monster that is associated with Lovecraft is of course this big beast called CTHULHU, and he's this big tentacled monster that rises out of the sea to, you know, terrorize people. And of course that has inspired all sorts of movie monsters like Godzilla, Mothra, even stuff like Pacific Rim, okay, has this very existential, you know, you feel very helpless every time you see these big giant monsters, and that's very Lovecraftian. Okay, I'm fill in these eyes. Other examples of movies that are very heavily Lovecraft inspired include The Mist. Remember this story where this town, this mist comes on and then suddenly these other dimensional beings start coming in and killing all the residents. And people have like no idea what's going on. That's very Lovecraftian. And of course, Annihilation, which was this really mindfucky show about these people who find this kind of a other dimensional place where all sorts of weird things start happening, is also very Lovecraftian. And of course, recently The Lighthouse, right, with Robert Pattinson. And of course, my all-time favorite horror movie, Cabin in the Woods. Okay, that took the tropes of every single horror genre and turned it on its head. I thought it was such a brilliant movie. I remember coming home after watching a late screening of it and woke my partner up to rave about the show. And I watched it several times after that. It forced all my siblings to watch it. Cabin in the Woods. I love that show. Okay, and basically, yeah, the end of it was, you know, they're basically trying to appease these gods. And the final scene, spoiler alert, where this huge hand comes up. That's very Lovecraftian. And of course, HBO's recent Lovecraft Country. I'll be talking about that later. I love that show. Okay, it's really, really interesting take on Lovecraft horror. Okay, we want to try to get these eyes as realistic as possible. Not that realistic, okay? Still drag. Smaller brush for these guys. Now let's go in and add the details around the eyes. So now I've experimented a bit. I'm using my Maybelline liquid lipstick in Ringleader. Okay, and I've got it on a brush and I'm using this tiny little brush just to draw these little folds around the eyes to make it look a bit more realistic. Get into those corners there so it looks like a little bit of a little inner canthus. Oh, and of course It, right? It, the Stephen King story about this interdimensional being that comes to this town to eat little children. That's also very Lovecraftian. And you know, even in Little Mermaid, the last scene where Ursula rises up, this all these tentacles, that was very, very, very much reminiscent of something very Lovecraftian. Okay, so as you can see, he's very, very influential in today's modern horror tropes. Unfortunately, he was a horrible racist. He was a white supremacist, and in one of his books, he actually wrote this poem about black people using the N-word over and over again. Recently, his name was taken off a science fiction and horror book prize. I'm gonna go around this here too. Now I'm gonna go in and give those eyes some dimension with some grey. Okay, Pompberry draws in the pupils, but I'm gonna leave those out because I'll be sticking them onto my face. I'm gonna set these guys with white first. So I've got SUGARPILL Tako for that. That's why I think, because of his racist past, a lot of modern horror writers and science fiction writers have been denouncing him. Lovecraft Country from HBO really takes his works and turns it on its head by you know, telling the story of a African-American family in the 1950s when, you know, racism was high and nigh, and their adventures throughout very, very racist America. Each episode is slightly different and uses a different trope of science fiction or horror to relay the African-American experience. And not only that, they even had one episode in Korea where they commented on American colonialism, okay, because that's during the Korean War, and it was an Asian-centered episode where they talked about a nine-tailed fox, and the nine-tailed fox is a very Asian spirit, kind of a succubus, what they call a succubus, who kills men while they have sex with them, and she's one of the characters in the story Lovecraft Country. Let's see, you can see dimension already. Okay, now I'm going to go in and color around the eyes. I'm going to give each eye a different color, so I'm going from red to purple, the rainbow. Okay, lots of brushes today. I'm using my colored rain. I'm going to use it to smudge out those lines also. I think I'm going to use yellow first, okay, the lighter one, so I don't have to use so many brushes. And the yellow one, I'm going to go around this one. Okay, and then orange. And red. And then for this eye, I'm just going to smoke out a little bit of red going into yellow. And then going on to the other rainbow colors, starting with green to blue, drip drop, and purple, so using vibes. Okay, I'm just gonna add a few more details with an angled brush and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've deepened that up a little bit. It's looking a little bit messy, but I'm going to go in now with the highlighting steps. Okay, so using tart-shaped tape. I'm going to use Kimchi's concealer in Ivory. So Lovecraft Country, every episode is really, really interesting. Like the first episode was like this really intense road trip. The monsters don't even turn up to the end. Like halfway through, the racism and the white supremacy was more horror than anything else. And then he had other episodes that looked like almost like an Indiana Jones one. The one where they went to the museum was almost an Indiana Jones theme. One of the best episodes was when one of the characters somehow tapped into the multiverse, and there was a lot of tropes on Afrofuturism and black excellence in multiple universes, and that was so cleverly done. Whew, this is difficult. It's getting a bit muddy. Still gotta figure out a way to make this look a bit more drag. I find when I do looks that don't have brows, it doesn't look too drag. So hopefully these kind of like stand in for brows. Okay, and then just go in and get that line there. Just going around so that it's this ridge-like. Okay, so the same. I'm just going to go around all that with the white, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I put the concealer all around, and I decided to give my eyes a bit of a smoky rainbow. Now I'm going to go in with some blush and contour. I'm just going to bring some of the reds and pinks around here. So it looks like I have this, like, you know, moving mouth parts. Using Party Drip from Coloured Rain. Okay, I'm going to use that and a bit of orange for the blush on the nose. What forms of Lovecraftian horror do you like? Have I missed out any examples? I think now I'm going to go in some highlights. SUGARPILL Tako. Bring this mouth parts out. Pompberry doesn't do this, but I think in order to give my eyes a little bit more drag, I'm gonna have to put in some black and give myself a liner as well. See hers? Deepen up the outer corner. This black doesn't go out all the way because there's an eye there. Just bring it into the crease. What a difference liner makes. I need to open up my eye a little bit too. So using a clown white. I think we're ready to pop on some of those eyes. Eyelash glue. We have to extend. Let's make sure that goes all the way around the eye. Green. Blue. Purple. Alright, so I'm just gonna put on some finishing touches. A lash, maybe a few more lashes there, cleaned up a bit, and I'll be back at the finished look. And this is the finished look. With some fangs and some tentacles. So I look like I'm a pinup girl from a Lovecraftian horror series gonna shoot some tentacle porn. Okay, so if you like this Snatchoween look on my eyes, hey, my eyes are up here. Give me a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and ring that bell for post notifications. Leave a comment down below. What else do you think I should do for Snatchoween? There's a few more days left and I've got a few more looks to do. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh. Watch my other videos by the look and the pop art genre.